There are moments in your life when everything seems to be falling apart. The job you wanted slips through your fingers. The relationship you invested in crumbles. The dream you chased fades into nothing. And in those moments, you question everything. You wonder if you've been abandoned, if your prayers have gone unheard, if Allah has turned away from you. But what if I told you that in those very moments of perceived loss, Allah was actually shielding you from something far worse? What if the rejection you faced was actually divine redirection? What if the pain you endured was the price of a protection you couldn't yet understand? Mufti Menk discovered through years of studying the Quran and counseling thousands of believers that Allah's protection operates in dimensions we rarely recognize. Today, we're going to unveil 7 unmistakable signs that Allah is protecting you in ways your eyes cannot see, but your heart will feel. According to Mufti Menk, one of the most profound truths in Islam is that Allah's mercy encompasses everything, yet His protection often disguises itself as hardship. We live in a world obsessed with immediate gratification, where protection is measured by comfort and blessings are counted in material gains. But divine protection operates on a completely different frequency. It functions in the realm of the unseen, in the silent redirection of fate, in the closing of doors that would have led to your destruction. Mufti Menk said that most people spend their lives looking for signs of Allah's love in the things they receive, never realizing that sometimes the greatest sign of His love is in what He withholds. The Quran reminds us that we may hate something that is actually good for us, and we may love something that is actually harmful. This isn't just spiritual poetry. This is the operating system of divine wisdom. When you begin to recognize these 7 signs, your entire perspective on hardship, loss, and disappointment will transform. You'll start seeing Allah's hand not just in your victories, but in your defeats. Not just in what arrives, but in what never does. Sign 1. Unexpected relief from hardship. The first sign that Allah is protecting you manifests in those inexplicable moments when relief arrives from absolutely nowhere. You're drowning in debt, and suddenly an unexpected check arrives. You're facing a legal battle that seems unwinnable, and the case gets dismissed on a technicality. You're on the verge of making a terrible decision, and something stops you at the last second. Mufti Menk said these aren't coincidences. These are divine interventions wrapped in the clothing of ordinary events. According to Mufti Menk, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, taught us that when Allah loves a servant, He protects them from the dunya the way a shepherd protects his flock from dangerous grazing grounds. Think about that metaphor. The sheep doesn't understand why the shepherd pulls it away from the lush grass near the cliff's edge. All it sees is denial. All it feels is restriction. But the shepherd sees the danger the sheep cannot perceive. This is exactly how Allah's protection operates in your life. When you're desperate for a specific job and it falls through, only to discover months later that the company collapsed or the boss was abusive, that's Allah protecting you. When a relationship ends painfully, and you later learn that person wasn't who they pretended to be, that's divine mercy in disguise. Mufti Menk discovered through counseling countless individuals that the most grateful believers are often those who look back at their unanswered prayers with relief rather than regret. The relief you experience isn't random. It's orchestrated. It's timed. It's a direct response from the one who sees every thread of your future woven together. When you recognize this pattern in your life, when you start connecting the dots between what you escaped and what you endured, you'll realize that Allah has been your silent guardian all along. Sign 2. Protection from unseen dangers. The second sign is perhaps the most chilling and the most profound. Allah protects you from dangers you never even knew existed. You leave your house 5 minutes late and miss being at the exact location where an accident occurs. You cancel a trip at the last minute because of a bad feeling and later discover there was a major incident. You almost board a flight, but something makes you change your plans. According to Mufti Menk, these near misses aren't luck. They're divine orchestration. The angels assigned to protect you are constantly redirecting your steps, altering your timing, placing obstacles in your path that frustrate you in the moment but save you in ways you'll never fully comprehend. Mufti Menk said that the Quran mentions in Surah Ar-Raid that each person has angels before them and behind them, guarding them by Allah's command. This isn't metaphorical. This is literal. There are forces protecting you right now as you read these words. Forces that have steered you away from toxic people who would have destroyed your peace. Forces that have kept you from opportunities that looked golden but were actually traps. Forces that have given you sudden illness that prevented you from attending an event where something terrible would have happened. You'll never know the full extent of what you've been protected from because if you did, the weight of that knowledge would overwhelm you. Think about the accidents that almost happened, the relationships that almost formed, the business deals that almost went through, the paths you almost took. Each one represents a timeline where your life could have gone horribly wrong. But Allah, in His infinite mercy, collapsed those timelines before they could manifest. Mufti Menk discovered that when believers start paying attention to the near misses in their lives, they develop a profound sense of gratitude that transcends their current circumstances. You are more protected than you realize, more guarded than you know, more loved than you can imagine. Sign 3. Guidance through intuition and dreams. The third sign that Allah is protecting you comes through the subtle language of intuition and the vivid messages in your dreams. Have you ever had a gut feeling so strong that it made you change your entire plan? Have you ever experienced a dream so clear that it gave you direction when you were lost? According to Mufti Menk, these aren't random neurological events. They're divine communications customized for your soul. Mufti Menk said that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, explained that good dreams are one of the 46 parts of prophethood. This means that Allah still speaks to His servants through the realm of sleep, through the whispers of the heart, through the inexplicable knowing that bypasses logic and speaks directly to your soul. When you feel uneasy about a person despite their perfect appearance, that's Allah warning you. When you feel drawn to a decision that makes no logical sense but feels spiritually right, that's Allah guiding you. When you wake up from a dream with absolute clarity about a situation that confused you for months, that's Allah protecting you from making the wrong choice. These moments of divine guidance are everywhere, but most people dismiss them. They rationalize them away. They override their intuition with logic, their spiritual compass with worldly calculation. But the believers who have learned to trust this internal guidance system discover that it never leads them astray. Mufti Menk discovered through his own life experiences that every time he followed that inner conviction, even when it contradicted popular opinion or logical analysis, he was protected from harm and guided toward goodness. Your intuition isn't paranoia. Your dreams aren't random. Your heart's whispers aren't imagination. They're the language Allah uses when words would be too limiting, when direct intervention would remove the test, when your growth requires you to trust the unseen more than the seen. Sign 4. People who help you without reason. The fourth sign manifests through people who appear in your life at exactly the right moment with exactly the right help. A stranger who offers assistance when you're stranded. A colleague who advocates for you when you're not in the room. A friend who calls precisely when you're falling apart. A mentor who sees potential in you that you can't see in yourself. Mufti Menk said these people aren't accidents. They're angels in human form, dispatched by Allah to be the answer to prayers you may have forgotten you even made. According to Mufti Menk, one of the most beautiful aspects of divine protection is that Allah uses His creation to care for His creation. He softens hearts toward you. He places mercy in the chests of people who have no logical reason to help you. He orchestrates meetings that seem coincidental but are actually carefully arranged. Think about the job you got because someone vouched for you. The opportunity that came because someone thought of you. The crisis you survived because someone showed up. These weren't favors. These were divine interventions channeled through human vessels. The Quran tells us that if all of humanity gathered together to benefit you with something, they could only benefit you with what Allah has already written for you. This means that every helping hand extended toward you is ultimately guided by divine will. That person who helped you may have thought it was their own decision, their own kindness, their own choice. But behind their choice was Allah's plan for your protection and provision. Mufti Menk discovered that when you start recognizing these human angels in your life, gratitude takes on a new dimension. You thank the person, yes, but you also thank Allah for softening their heart toward you. You appreciate the help, certainly, but you also appreciate the divine orchestration that brought that person into your path at that exact moment. Sign 5. Doors that close to protect you. The fifth sign is the most misunderstood form of divine protection, yet it might be the most merciful. Allah protects you by closing doors you desperately wanted to walk through. The job application that never got a response. The relationship that ended abruptly. The opportunity that evaporated at the last moment. The plan that fell apart despite your best efforts. In those moments, you felt rejected. You felt abandoned. You questioned your worth, your efforts, your prayers. But Mufti Menk said that rejection is often redirection, and what feels like a closed door is actually a protected boundary. According to Mufti Menk, some of the greatest blessings in life are the prayers Allah didn't answer the way you wanted. Because He saw what you couldn't see. He knew what you didn't know. He protected you from what would have destroyed you. Imagine praying for a relationship with someone who would have eventually betrayed you. Imagine begging for a job at a company that would have exploited you. Imagine crying over an opportunity that would have led you away from your purpose. Every closed door carries within it a hidden mercy that only time reveals. The pain of rejection is temporary. The disaster you were protected from could have been permanent. This is why the believers who have lived long enough to look back at their unanswered prayers often find themselves thanking Allah with tears of relief rather than disappointment. They see clearly now what was invisible then. They understand that the door closed not to punish them, but to protect them. Mufti Menk discovered that when you shift your perspective on closed doors, you stop seeing them as obstacles and start seeing them as divine boundaries. You stop fighting against them and start trusting that Allah is repositioning you for something better, something healthier, something more aligned with your true purpose. The door that closed in your face may have saved your life. The opportunity that disappeared may have preserved your faith. The person who walked away may have protected your peace. Sign 6. Inner peace during chaos. The sixth sign that Allah is protecting you is the inexplicable calm you feel even when your external circumstances are in chaos. Your bank account is low, but your heart isn't anxious. Your future is uncertain, but your soul isn't disturbed. Your problems are mounting, but your faith isn't shaking. This isn't denial. This isn't toxic positivity. This is divine tranquility, a gift that Allah places in the hearts of those He protects. Mufti Menk said that one of the clearest indicators of Allah's special care for a believer is the gift of sakina, a profound inner peace that defies logic and transcends circumstances. According to Mufti Menk, this peace isn't something you manufacture through meditation techniques or positive thinking. It's something Allah downloads directly into your heart when He wants to assure you that despite what you see, He's in control. The Quran describes how Allah sent down tranquility upon the believers during their most terrifying moments. When they were outnumbered in battle. When they were surrounded by enemies. When logic said they should panic, but faith said they should trust. That same tranquility is available to you today. When everyone around you is losing their mind, but you're strangely calm. When the situation looks hopeless, but you're filled with unexplainable hope. When you should be breaking down, but you're holding together. That's not your strength. That's Allah's protection manifesting as internal stability. Mufti Menk discovered through his interactions with believers worldwide that those who possess this inner peace during external storms are often being prepared for something significant. Allah fortifies them internally before the external breakthrough arrives. He stabilizes their heart before He changes their circumstances. This peace isn't passivity. It's powerful trust. It's the kind of calm that comes from knowing that the one managing your affairs is infinitely more capable than you are. When you feel this peace in the middle of chaos, recognize it for what it is. Divine protection of your mental and spiritual state. Sign 7. Small blessings you almost miss. The seventh and final sign that Allah is protecting you appears in the small, easily overlooked blessings that fill your daily life. The air in your lungs. The food on your table. The roof over your head. The ability to walk, see, hear, think. These aren't minor blessings. They're massive protections that you've become so accustomed to that you barely notice them anymore. Mufti Menk said that one of the most profound shifts in spiritual awareness happens when you start seeing the ordinary as extraordinary. When you recognize that every moment you're not in pain is a blessing, every breath you take is a gift. Every day you wake up is another chance that billions of people didn't receive. According to Mufti Menk, Allah protects you not just from major catastrophes, but from the thousands of minor disasters that could have ruined your day, your health, your peace. The headache that could have been a brain tumor, but was just stress. The chest pain that could have been a heart attack, but was just anxiety. The close call on the road that could have been fatal, but resulted in nothing. When you begin to notice these small protections, gratitude becomes your natural state. You stop taking for granted the fact that your heart is beating without you having to think about it, that your immune system is fighting battles you're not even aware of, that your body is performing millions of functions every second to keep you alive. Mufti Menk discovered that the most content people aren't those who have the most, but those who notice the most. They see Allah's protection in the things that didn't go wrong, in the disasters that didn't happen, in the pain they didn't experience. They realize that being average in this world is actually being extraordinarily blessed compared to billions of others. When you train your eyes to see these small signs, you realize that Allah's protection isn't occasional or rare. It's constant, continuous, and completely encompassing your existence every single moment. Thank you so much for staying with me through this exploration. If you found value in today's discussion, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and share this video with someone who might benefit from it.